Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. Thank you very much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Shout out to all the subscribers. As always, big up to anybody new. Gratitude to you. Let's talk about clinching in boxing. Specifically, I want to talk about Subriel Matias and his ability to fight in the clinches.
Battling not only on even terms, maybe doing a little better. Matias has Ponce staggered! Ponce goes down for the second time in his career! 5, 6, 7.
In this video, we're going to go over what a clinch is, how to train yourself to get better at specific areas in your physicality, and how to improve your grip strength, how to get your stability better. I'm going to give examples of fighters in the past, like Andre Ward as well. Bud Crawford, I'm going to give a lot of footage on him. Obviously, the main video is about Subriel Matias. I'm going to cover loads of footage on what he's actually doing in there, because clinching is actually a defensive move typically. You know, you really could use it to smother your opponent. If you're a little bit hurt, you need a little bit of a breather just to clinch on. Holding is actually illegal, but clinching is a high skill that, you know, it's almost a dying art. Not enough boxers can do it really well, and when you can do it really well, you can really neutralize a fighter from being able to clinch you, and you can fight in the clinches, which is what Subriel Matias does absolutely unbelievably well. So let's go.
Porque cuando tú estás seguro de lo que tú das y tú eres, no le temes a los riesgos. Porque cuando tú estás seguro de lo que tú das y tú eres, no le temes a los riesgos.
Boxing.
Alright, so clinching, yes, it is a defensive move really, typically. And, you know, there's actually quite a few reasons why fighters do it. You know, like I said in the intro, it can be used to really, like, you know, give yourself a bit of a breather, but it can be done intentionally to break your opponent's rhythm, really frustrate them, you know, get like their flow if they're boxing nicely, and you want to just make it awkward for them. You know, you can do that. You can initiate clinches. If you're in the corner, you're getting backed up, you can initiate the clinch to shut the danger down or to smother them, make it a little ugly, you know, spoil them. But fighting in the clinches, which is mainly what this video is about, which is such an amazingly beautiful skill that Subriel Matias does, is something that I think you have to train at for a very long time to get really good at it. And there's not enough boxers that actually A, can really clinch properly, but B, that can fight in clinches, because you're dealing with wrestling, you're dealing with grappling, you're dealing with, like, you know, having your base under you, okay? Having your base under you is really important when you're clinching, because a part of the goal is to maneuver your opponent off of their base, okay? Or stop them from grabbing you, which is what Matias does. I'll show you this clip right now. He does against Ponce, where he jams his forearm right into the neck, right? It actually looks like it's like a dark art, but it's not illegal because Ponce's trying to hold him. All right, Matias is throwing off a combination. If you actually see his hand scuffs his side of his leg, which he's trying to throw an uppercut. The uppercut actually instinctually moves into his neck. And another part of clinching, fighting in the clinches like this, there's a lot of instinct involved, and that was instinctual right there. But he's got his base under him, and he's preventing Ponce from actually holding him, and you can see Ponce's doing that. And whilst he's doing that, as he's leaning over to the side, he's still able to get off an unbelievable, devastating shot that put Ponce down. And if you look at the shot itself, it comes in and it actually gets caught a little bit on Ponce's arm. So the trajectory, I mean, the Matias is leaning off to the side like that. Anyone that's ever boxed before, go and stand in front of a bag and punch from the side. It's a technique that is not easy to do. Not to mention you're doing it in front of thousands of people live on TV, and you've got a physically strong man trying to grab you, and he's still able to do that and still land that shot to knock him down. That is extremely, really high level fighting in the clinch stuff, okay? It is really quite remarkable. Another thing clinching really is part of, is giving yourself room to, you know, get these shots off.
Just to the body, neutralizing Ponce as best he can. As Ponce continues to dig to the body with right hands, Ponce just missed with a right uppercut. Now goes over the top with a right hand at land.
Okay, if your opponent isn't necessarily trying to grab you, but you're on the inside trying to fight. Another thing Matias does beautifully, he'll just do this little nudge with his shoulder like that, create a little bit of space to get that separation, to create room for his hooks. Now, when he knocked down Jukembayev in the 4th round, he was just, it's very subtle. I will do my best to zoom in on it.
Again, there's that right. It started it off. Another right.
But he just bumps him like that. Okay, Jukembayev moves back a little bit. There's the space. Chucks a right hook in. And then, you know, the left hook comes in, and that was all she wrote. Well, it ended later on. I think it was the 8th, but he dropped him in the 4th. But just creating that little bit of separation, which is inside fighting. You know, that isn't so much clinching per se, but it's the little skill sets on the inside to create room while you are grappling, or while you are, you know, physically engaging in, you're just trying to get that little bit of space to create that magic, which is exactly what happened there. And, you know, I know Matias was, his idol was Tito, Trinidad. And I'll show you this clip where Tito does that, and he just nudges his opponent off, gets a little bit of space, and bam.
Joppy went down to the body. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll do it. I don't think Virgil's going to let William Joppy continue. Felix Trinidad with a sensational.
Shoot, I think it's a left hook he caught him with. But obviously James Toney was really good at that too. But it's in the realms of inside fighting, and clinching and fighting in the clinch aren't exactly the same thing. But, you know, they just fall into this other side of skill in boxing that is just completely different to, you know, jabbing and moving and boxing on the outside. And this is where actually I want to talk about the history, or not history, but I want to bring in Virgil Hunter, which I was obsessed with a lot of the stuff he said back in the day. I used to listen to every single interview of his over and over, and Andre Ward as well. And if you listen to, I'll show you this clip. It's an old video clip. It's not the best footage, but it tells you about what Virgil Hunter was understood, what he needed to do, and the training he made Andre Ward do.
I think on the physical side, you know, again, it was Virg having the foresight early on when I was a young boy, you know, and he saw that, you know, I had a lot of ability and skill, and, you know, he always told me, I don't look at the things you do well, you know, I look at when you can be beat. And, you know, he said, and this was probably when I was 11, 12, 13 years old, he said, the only style that can give you trouble right now is a bloodsaw. So at that point, he started to physically get me strong, plyometrics, when I just started getting introduced, and all those different things, and I just slowly over the years started to build my body up. And the same thing with the inside game. You know, when I first started boxing, I was just a fighter. I didn't box at all. Then I evolved to the Olympic style into being more of a boxer. And then as I turned professional, Virg realized that I needed to evolve and be able to do both. So he put that body vest on, that shield. He get the big mitt and say, okay, we got to work on your inside game. And I honestly hated it. I used to hate doing those drills because they were uncomfortable. I wasn't used to them. And then all of a sudden, you know, in the Alan Green fight, it just showed up.
Because it's going to be awkward. You know, I don't know what exactly they were doing, but I can only imagine he would probably try to, or get somebody to just constantly hold you down, pin you, grapple you, because it is a skill. If you just do that for the first time, and, you know, you might not be very good at it, but if you practice that every single day, and Andre Ward used to say he really just, he didn't like it at all.
So, okay, we got to work on your inside game, and I honestly hated it. I used to hate doing those drills.
But this is how you separate yourself from a good fighter to be a great fighter. And when a fighter, this is a big part of it too. If you don't know how to fight in the clinch, or if you're okay at fighting in the clinch, and you have a fighter that's really good at fighting in the clinch, it's going to show up. And in the Alan Green fight, it showed up because Andre Ward, he can initiate clinches as well by jabbing to the stomach, leaning in, getting a good position with his hands like that, so he's got the control, shooting uppercuts on the inside.
Andre Ward, the champion, son of God, in the blue and white. Alan Green, the challenger from Tulsa, Oklahoma, in white and black.
You know, everybody thinks it's easy to hit on.
That is just masterful boxing that boxers aren't going to be really prepared for, you know. And there's another, this video is about Matias. I'm going to come back to him, but I want to just elaborate a bit more on the clinch, because there's a clip right here I'll show you where Andre Ward is, they're just kind of battling for position, I guess, and a big part of your clinch, as I said, is trying to get your base under you, all right? Your base is so important. Base meaning, you know, your foundation, your feet having a good firm connection with the ground. It's so important, especially when you're grappling and clinching, because you don't want to get maneuvered. If you watch Beterbiev, let me just talk about Andre Ward for a second, because this clip where he's being, you know, they're trying to jostle for position, and if you look at Andre Ward, he's moving back, he gets his right leg in the right position, he gets his right arm underneath in a dominating position. Okay, now he's got the better balance under him because his base is under him. Now he's got his shoulder, he pushes Alan Green back, and now he's got the dominating, you know, advantage, and he's able to let a couple of shots go on the inside. Nothing too effective, but it's the optics, right? If you're winning a fight and you're winning these inside, you know, exchanges. And if you look at this is a great example of fighters not knowing what to do. If you look at these two pathetic shots from Alan Green, no disrespect, but he just flaps them out there, and that's what boxers will do. They don't know what to do, so they just throw these punches, which is wasting energy. They're never going to really land. And then Andre Ward is just there, just tight shots, bang, whacking them to the, you know, to the body, and just physically bullying him, because he's got his base under him, and because he's, you know, he's experienced in this and he's trained in it, you know. And Subriel Matias, like, I don't know if he does the same type of training, but I'm going to talk about the type of training that is required to actually get your grip strength up, your mobility, your shoulder stability, and your core stability. Your core is a massive part of it, and actually this is why it's more astonishing for me to see what Matias is doing, because a lot of times his base is compromised. Either he's being held, or he's just kind of maneuvering around a little bit, but he's still able to get that physicality. And if you watch, I'll show you this clip against Ergashev. I'll come back to the training elements and I'll touch on that in a sec. But against Ergashev, you know, another example of a fighter that had absolutely no idea how to fight on the inside, all right? Ergashev is tired, and this is one thing that people try to do when they clinch. They're looking for a little breather, and if you don't know how to, you know, compete in the clinch, then, you know, you're going to get bullied. Let me show you this clip.
From Matias.
Like those punches have nothing behind them, but he hit so hard.
His last 4 fights, so he's used to this, and there's that uppercut.
Cuts by Matias.
So as you can see, Ergashev is leaning over. Matias has got his forearm. Okay, that's creating the space. Without that forearm there, you know, Ergashev would likely be able to close the gap and get that little safe rest that he's looking for. But Matias has the forearm in there, and he's got his arm spare too, and he's just hitting him with a couple of beautiful shots. And shout out to anybody that watched the scientific video I did on Matias. There was loads of great comments. I really appreciate it. And, you know, as always, I open the floor to anybody that maybe coaches or fighters or anybody. You know, like, chime in. You know, I'm just a random guy on YouTube. I'd love to hear from you. I learned so much from the last comments, and I'm so grateful for all of them. And if you have anything to add, I would love to hear from you. I really would. And shout out to anybody that commented on all of my videos. I really appreciate it. I'm here to learn. Do you know what I mean? I'm obsessed with this sport. And I just want to know a bit more about it. And I've been doing a bit of research lately. And, you know, clinching is such a unique part of the sport that I think there's more to it than I know, and I'd love to hear from, you know, higher ups. But in terms of training, now Andre Ward used to do this kettlebell, okay, where he used to lift it up like that. I'll show you the clip right now, and keep it up there. That is, as I mentioned, getting his grip stability or grip strength. And if you look at Beterbiev too, he's actually excellent in the clinches as well. I'll try and pull up a couple of clips where he creates a little bit of space. He's able to get his forearm in there. He's able to shove people off because he's so physically strong anyway. And he was a wrestler. Beterbiev was a wrestler. Bud Crawford, wrestler. I'd love to know if Matias was a wrestler. If you guys can let me know in the comments. Because I don't know how he's learned this stuff. But in terms of training, I know Andre Ward trained specifically like that for this inside fighting. And I'll pull up the clip where, maybe I've played it already, but where, you know, Virgil Hunter was like, you need to, this is the one style that he called it a buzzsaw, which you couldn't hear the audio so well, but a buzzsaw style is basically someone that's in your chest, in fighting, putting it on you, you know? They're not trying to box, they're trying to put it on you. So basically, like, it's just a very a beautiful style or a beautiful technique and skill. And if you are a boxer right now, you're maybe an amateur, or maybe you're a you know, an open fighter, and you know, I would recommend learning how to clinch a lot. Get very good at that, because it can be so advantageous. It can win fights. I'll show you another clip of Andre Ward against Chad Dawson.
Uppercuts by Ward now. Jolting Dawson. To your point, Larry, masterful inside stuff from Andre Ward.
And Steve Smoger, the referee.
All right, if you look how awkward the whole situation is. And Chad Dawson's not actually doing the worst job in the world, right? He's got his right arm on Ward's head. He's got his left arm holding Ward. So he's doing kind of like, it's not great, but it's not that bad for someone who likes to fight on the outside. But if you look at Ward, he's constantly adjusting for position, and he twists his body just like Matias did it in the Ponce one, where he's had to maneuver out here. Andre Ward leans to the side and just starts not whizzing in, but shooting in tight uppercuts that are actually damaging. And again, when you are looking for a rest, or you're just looking, you're a bit tired, and you don't want to deal with that, when you have someone that can really fight in the clinches, this is what you get. You get punished.
Battling not only on even terms, maybe doing a little better.
Matias has Ponce staggered. Ponce goes down for the second time in his career.
5, 7, 8. Come here.
And then Bud Crawford, I'll show you this clip against Mean Machine. I mean, look, we all know Bud's a wrestler, right? I'll show you this clip where he looks like he's actually wrestling, all right? Mean Machine, I think it's the 8th round, and Bud's starting to, you know, dominate him a bit, and Bud was pulling out that animal because he just wanted to fight the guy. In that fight, he wanted that machismo to come out, and it did come out, but with skill. If you look here, you got Mean Machine on the ropes, and he's teeing off on him a little bit. Mean Machine goes to grab him, but jams him up again, just like Matias did, right? Elbow to the neck.
He needs to throw a right hand, a looping right hand. He needs to throw a shot at Crawford to back him up off of him.
He's throwing, he just ain't backing him up.
Crawford very comfortable.
So you stop someone coming in to grab you, so you've got the control. But if you look how low he is, he's literally a wrestling position, right? He's like that. And, you know, he's got the dominating position. I mean, he could have chucked a right hand in from there, but he doesn't. He's got Mean Machine back on the ropes. He lands a couple of shots. Mean Machine's trying to hold again. He's trying to hold again. Bam, in comes the forearm again to stop him. Bam, bam, shoots a couple more shots off for good measure. And this is like, that's the beauty of, oh man, my battery just ran out again. It's actually the space. It's not the battery, it's the space on my phone, which I just very unprofessionally forgot to clear it. Anyway, what was I saying? The anticipation of a fighter coming in. And so this is like instinctual. So if we talk about clinching, you'd have to do the specific training to get this. I think it would be really helpful if you did have some kind of wrestling background, even a little bit jiu-jitsu. Now, I did jiu-jitsu for 6 months, right? It was pretty awful. I mean that because it was like, I was boxing at the time, and I wanted to get, I thought it might help with just a new idea and just a new way to maybe manage my breath and stuff like that. And bro, I was getting choked out by total nerds every single week. But where I'm going with this is, like, your base when you're not on the ground getting choked out is really important, and a good base when you're doing jiu-jitsu, when you haven't quite grappled, like, is actually a massive key. And I learned a little bit from that, but I didn't translate it to boxing whatsoever. But I think you could learn a little bit if you get that early on, just to how to hold somebody and not get too bullied around and keep your base while you're getting pushed off. It's a really technical skill. It really is. Clinching is superbly technical. Very, very like a dying art, and not enough. I think most fighters don't really know how to clinch, if I'm being honest. You know, they really don't, especially not really at a high level. I mean, there's only a select few, to be honest with you, that are superb, and it can win you fights. And back to Subriel Matias, you know, what he does and how he's able to generate a bit of space, stop fighters coming in, you know, like control people. He gets pushed back a little bit. Dukembaev actually had, you know, a bit more success in the clinches because he's quite physically strong, but he was pushing Matias off quite a lot, probably using quite a lot of energy.
And I would even, dare I say, a great performance by Josh Taylor. Robles is the former trainer of Trinidad.
And but Matias kept, because his you know, I said his base gets broken a bit more, which is why he was getting pushed back like that, which is why it makes it even more amazing, really, to think about how Matias is doing this without the best base is astonishing. And I talked about that in the punch, scientific punch video I did, about how he's generating so much power without really like the fundamental base under him some of the time. It's unbelievable. I mean, this guy's unbelievable. He really is. Let's talk about him at the 140-pound division, because I don't think anyone's going to beat him up there. I really don't. I did give I said this pre-Garcia too, and I was like, I was toying with the idea that Haney might actually have some success, but then before the fight, I was like, I watched Matias's clinch game a bit more, and I was like, no way. Haney would just get, no way. Tito, no way. I don't think Tito would make it to the 12th round. Look, I like Tito. He gets a lot of heat. I think there's a good soul in there somewhere. I've said that so many times on this video, and I've picked against him a couple of times, but I don't think he makes it out of the 12th round. No disrespect. But man, what are you gonna do when this guy takes? You're not fighting a normal, real human being, bro. This guy has got a spiritual essence about him that is far deeper than anything I've ever seen. This guy's got a spiritual essence about him that is far deeper than anything I've ever seen, and I mean that. And shout out to the Puerto Ricans locked in as well. And there was some guy that popped up in my comments and really kind of blew my mind with what he said about how Matias talks to the dead, and you know, it wasn't to do with like Santeria and none of that stuff, and like it got real deep and really like spiritual, and that's why I'm so like enamored by this guy, because you know, I'm quite a spiritual dude, to be honest with you, but I see his eyes. Look at his face, bro. This guy is like, I swear, if there's anyone on the planet, if like the devil showed up tomorrow, it's like, all right, we got to pick someone to fight him, I'd pick Matias, bro. Not Mike Tyson, not any you know, bad dude. I'd be like, get Matias up there. He's willing to go to places people aren't willing to go, I think. Do you know what I mean? I absolutely love it. And again, with his clinch game, when you are looking for a little breather like Ergashev did, like Ponce did, it can work against you, because he's like, nope, I'm not going to let you do that. Bam, bam, have that. And it's amazing. It really is. And, you know, clinching in itself is amazing. So just a quick summary, because I've been rambling quite a bit. I don't even know how long I've been going on for, because my battery ran out, or the memory ran out. So hopefully it's not too long, but hopefully it's long enough where you guys actually, you know, enjoyed the video, and, you know, I got out what I was trying to get out. I feel like I had so many notes pre this that I hope I haven't missed anything, because I really wanted to articulate myself as best as I could, because I've been really looking forward to doing this video. But I think it feels all right. Hopefully it's good. As I said, fill in the gaps, guys. You know what I mean? I'd love to hear from you. I really would. And, you know, gratitude to anyone that's tuned in. Gratitude to all the subscribers. If you are new, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. You know, as always, I've got so many videos coming. I really can't express how many videos I've got coming from the heart, from passion, and, you know, just love for the sport, and just my desire to get the best content out I can possibly make. That's all I do. I wake up every day, I'm like, what can I make now? And I'll leave actually a little clip at the end with some clinch highlights, that beat that I'm playing as well, actually, do you know what? I'm going to say, if anybody wants that beat with the vocals, okay, send me an email. I will send it to you. That's a promise. My email, I will leave it in the pinned comments, all right? If you want that beat with the vocals, send me an email. I got you. I got you. Because I made this piece of music and I put Matias's vocals on it, and I was a bit anxious about putting it out because of copyright reasons, you know. I was just going to put it up on SoundCloud, and I was like, wait, hold on. I don't know if that's legal. But if you generally, I think it comes from a good place of, I'm not even trying to make money off of it, you know what I mean? I think it'd be cool to have as some kind of anthem, or if you're driving around Puerto Rico, blast that in your car. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, look, at the end I will leave, what did I say I was going to leave? I'll leave some, oh yeah, I'll leave some of the videos that I've got coming up, because I've got so much work coming up. I'm really excited about it, and you know, I'm all over the place a little bit. I've got a bit of an artist soul, and I'll get creative sometimes, and sometimes I'll just make a quick video, but I've got loads of stuff coming up. I will leave it after these little clips of the clinching. I'll put it at the end, and you know, yeah, it's going to take a minute for some of them. This one took a bit longer than I wanted to, but I will get there in the end, I promise. So I feel like did I do a summary? I can't remember, but it doesn't matter. Train's been going by like crazy. It's kind of a muggy day here in New York, but summer's coming. We've got a lot to be happy about. Boxing's flying right now. I love it, man. That's it. I'm out of here. Boxing on the edge. Peace and love. Thank you.
Porque cuando tú estás seguro de lo que tú das y tú eres, no le temes a los riesgos. Porque cuando tú estás seguro
when you're sure what you know that you have, the skill that you have, then you take the fight.
Porque cuando tú estás seguro de lo que tú das y tú eres, no le temes a los riesgos. Porque cuando tú estás seguro porque cuando tú estás seguro de lo que tú das y tú eres, no le temes a los riesgos. Porque cuando tú estás seguro estás seguro porque cuando tú estás seguro de lo que tú das y tú eres, no le temes a los riesgos.
I'm a Terminator.
There was a lot of risk in taking this fight. Why did you do it?
Había muchos riesgos en esta pelea. ¿Por qué tomaste la pelea?
Porque cuando tú estás seguro de lo que tú das y tú eres, no le temes a los riesgos.
Is that when you're sure what you know that you have, the skill that you have, then you take the fight.